In the past year, there's been a lot of changes and unknowns in our lives. With COVID shutting down colleges all across the country, many students have chosen to step away from Zoom classes and online academics and take a gap year. Several of our own Palo Alto High School graduates have taken this path and made the most of a pandemic through a year break from school.
I'm Sarah. I went to Pali, and I'm class of 2019.
Leah Salvatierra. I went to Palo Alto High School, and I graduated in 2019.
Sarah Mitz and Leah Salvatierra have both had unique experiences throughout their year away from school.
In August, I went to go live on a communal farm with 6 other people. We would all have dinner together every night, and we lived together. We shared all of our money, our house, everything. Basically, we were enclosed on a farm, and the whole country was in lockdown, but we could roam free. I had orchards, and then in the afternoon we would go herd a bunch of goats together. Now I'm home and I'm doing an internship, and I'm going back to school, I guess, as a sophomore in September.
So on my gap year, I spent 3 months through a program between the countries of Bolivia and Peru in South America. I was working at home for a couple of months, which is also a totally valid gap year option. A lot of people just make money. It was really useful to me going into college to have that. I lived in Virginia and was basically working as an unpaid intern for a campaign.
The two gap year students had different experiences with the pandemic hitting during their gap year, but were both able to make it work.
I thought, honestly, I think it was the best decision I could have made. I was okay, I can do something really cool with a really small group of people, or go to school and be by myself in a room on Zoom. So I guess it was good for me.
I was planning on doing a Knowles mountaineering course in the Himalayas. So I missed out on that, but I'm hoping to redo, that portion of my gap year I can do another time.
While a few months is not much time, these students have learned a lot about themselves by taking a gap year.
There was a lot of times where I was picking mangoes, and it was 100 degrees, and I was what am I doing with my life? I could be at school. All my friends I know are doing very different things than I am. We would drive up the mountain after picking, and there was a beautiful sunset, and then we had the whole day free. It was just a way different thing than I thought I would ever be able to do as someone who was 19. And it was so awesome, and now I'm thank God I went on this. This is the best decision I ever made.
Especially living in California and growing up in California, it's a huge state, and so we don't necessarily need to travel out of state or learn about other states as much as we could. So I think that I kind of added a lot more in-state and in-country stuff to my bucket list. I think that I was really well prepared for being alone because in my homestays, I didn't have a phone for 3 months, so that was really awesome and important and really difficult. It actually kind of guided what I want to do in college at this point. I'm considering being a history major, potentially global studies. I went into college a lot more sure of what I wanted to get out of college, and I think that that's a huge benefit.
While taking a gap year is scary and an uncomfortable thing to do, these students highly recommend doing it.
In a very academic setting at Pali, I think that I was still running after I graduated and didn't stop running until I actually took that year off, and I probably wouldn't have stopped running until I graduated. And I think that I finally stopped and I walked and actually had time to really reevaluate, where I grew up and all of those kind of things that you're really immune to. I know that you might want to rush straight to college because it's been such a weird year, but the nice thing is that everyone's lives have been completely shaken up, so there's no better time to steer off the traditional path.
School will always be there. You can make it work, and there's so many cool things you could do. I don't really think anybody regrets taking a gap year.
Taking a gap year is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see new places, meet new people, have new experiences, and learn so much about yourself and the world around you. Even during COVID, taking a year off can bring memories that last a lifetime.